Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have Heather Morrison in the studio today. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I'm going to give a little bio for you.
Okay.
I want to let people know about you. So I've known Heather for years, about 14 years, where I first photographed her in our first studio, which was really fun. Do you remember that, by the way?
I have the pictures from you. I can't remember. Yes. You helped us so much with some theater too, right?
Yeah.
So, with all the photos. I have like a ton of photos from you.
That was the kind of connection, I think,
Yeah.
when they moved in the building, or when some theater moved into the 220. And
Yeah.
So Heather is the founder and president of Deliver Your Best Coaching. Her flagship program has helped professionals from 11 different countries overcome their fear of public speaking. Heather has a background in both theater and broadcasting and continues to cover sports in Western Canada for numerous platforms, including TSN. Pretty cool resume.
Yes.
I think.
I have a variety of interests.
So
that's what my dad and I were just talking about this last night. He's like, you're not happy unless you're doing a bunch of different things.
I love it. Before we started rolling the show, I admitted I was a little nervous about having someone who is very familiar with broadcasting and literally coaches people in public speaking. So,
well, it's because I'm a very judgmental person. That's probably what made you nervous.
Sure. Yeah. I'm really excited to have you here. I'm going to have you debrief after. You can coach me a little bit on
sure
my delivery here.
You're doing great. I think people have me wrong in that I'm sitting there thinking about like missed opportunities or what people aren't doing. But what I actually is I can see inside how effortful public speaking is. And I understand the challenges that people are facing when they're doing it. So I actually just see a lot of good. I see a lot of people that's what I'm focusing on when I'm listening to public speakers.
Well, let's just jump into it.
Mm-hmm.
Why, what made you want to do it? I met you doing theater. You're an amazing actress, and then worked on morning news on the radio, and now hosting sports commentary, which I feel like, that's a pretty cool array of skills. So kind of what got you into like that to now coaching?
Well, sorry. I'm like, I'm stunned. I can't speak. Okay. So the thing about acting and the thing about being on the radio in theater is that you don't have to face your audience as yourself. So when you're in theater, you're being a character, and so it's not you up there in front of people. And when you're on the radio, you can't see the people that you're talking to. It's like this podcast right now. How many 1,000 people who listen to it, we don't see them while we're talking. So I found those things very natural, very easy. And it was when I had to go out and I had to MC events as a commercial radio host in the city. They send you out to do a ton of things. And I stood in front of 600 people to MC a lunch, and it felt terrible. And then I started dreading these events. Like I wouldn't be able to sleep the night before. The whole day at work would be a write-off because I'd be like, oh, what's going to happen tonight? Am I going to do okay? Butterflies, sweating, an inability to think clearly. I had all the problems. So public speaking was really, really hard for me because it was so vulnerable. And I had to get myself over my own fear. And once I did, and I realized what it actually takes in order to do that, I wanted to also take this problem away from other people. I always joke that I always say that people came to me for help, but actually more I was like, oh, you don't have to feel that way. Let me take that problem from you. I'm gonna get in your business and I'm gonna tell you what to do. So that's how I got into starting this. And I probably started working with people all the way back in maybe like 2013 to 2015, just very, very casually. And I've just been building it ever since until it exploded about 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, how many followers do you have on Instagram?
I hit 114 just this morning, but sorry, I want to preface, I do not keep very close track of it, but I did notice. I was like, oh, 114. It'll probably go down. It goes up and down.
114,000.
114,000.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And you're, on the marketing side, you're very dedicated. You're really good at making content for your own Instagram and your oun marketing. So
yeah, and I know you want to talk about that a little today, and I think we should because it's not what people think it is. It's not like you get over 100,000 followers and then sorry, it did change my life, but it's not what people think it is.
Like it doesn't, you're not rolling in cash from it.
Well, I'm like, can everybody here give me $10? Like just
That would be,
once.
I'm going to do the math. That would be $1.14
Yeah.
million.
See, there you go. Just once, right? So it did change my life in that it really expanded it. You know, I said in the intro, 11 different countries. So I've met people all over the world, which has been really, really good for just my perspective and my own confidence. And that's where I do the majority of my attraction marketing is on Instagram. So I get a ton of clients from there. But, you know, I still take out my own garbage and compost. Like I still have to deal with issues with my son's school. It's not like I'm living this influencer life now where I'm getting like paid trips to go places and I don't have to do the nitty-gritty details of life. So it's not like people think it is. And then also one of the other things is that
Thank you for saying that, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think in even what we do, it's like people, especially like we do social media marketing, people think more followers equals more money. It's like there's some correlation, but it's not. Yeah, it's not even like. Well, just have you gotten $1.14 million?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like more of it's probably, you know, you're connecting to a finite type of person, and then out of those types of people who connect, some of them are probably just taking your good advice because your content's actually at very high end. You tell really good stories. I think it's a case study of good communication, which makes sense for what you do. But then out of those people who follow you, you know, it's this small portion who are willing to give a credit card and sign up for a course because it could mean something for them.
Yes, which makes sense because I don't need a lot of people to buy something for a small amount of money. I need a few people to buy something for a significant amount of money for them, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. I would also just encourage people, and you can use my page as an example, is do a deep dive on the numbers. So one of the big things to do is look at somebody can have a lot of followers, but their views can be really low. And I go through periods where I'm just like not popular. I can't put anything up that resonates with my audience. And I have to do a lot of work to try to figure out why. And then I'll have a reel that pops off to like 1 million views. And I'll get a ton of followers in one big chunk, right? And so it's not this consistent thing. So there's some people that have very engaged audiences and do really well, and everything that they do has views and comments and everything. My stuff's more like the chart of it is really up and down. And I would just encourage people to look at that to calm themselves down. And if I had focused on one thing better when I had first started and I got really popular really fast, it would be engagement. I think audience engagement and having a community that engages with you is more important than follower count.
So like comments, but then also taking the time to build like a comment back.
Yes.
You know, with probably, you know, we're going to talk about authenticity, but there's something authentic about just like someone follows you, someone makes a comment, and then, you know, you reply to them.
Yes. And at the beginning, I was so overwhelmed. I would wake up in the morning and I would have like 40 DMs and just tons of comments on my stuff. Like, I don't think I could actually manage having an incredibly popular account. There's so much there. But one of the mistakes that I made in the trajectory of my account was I removed myself from it. So at the beginning, I was a lot more into the storytelling, a lot more into my own experience with public speaking. And I didn't realize how much people were connecting with that because for a couple years, then I ended up, not a couple years, sorry, but like for a big chunk of time, maybe like 5 or 6 months, I really just focused on just public speaking tips and that I was just this entity that did it. Like I didn't have a personality and I didn't have a life that was informing these things. And I think that was a mistake. Like I was following some advice that I saw in a couple places and it didn't work really well for me. And now I'm bringing more into that. Here's a situation I came up with. Here's how I'm dealing with it type story, which now people are starting to feel like they have a relationship with me again, which is really nice.
Yeah. Well, and then once you have that, the willingness of someone to then buy into your course, become a customer, buy the training, even invest in it. Like you could buy training, but if you don't do it, then
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's also very true. So here's the thing too, is that it's so interesting with this stuff is that I think I'm a really, really excellent public speaking coach. And I think I am a mediocre businesswoman and a social media marketer. I understand I have a big following, but it's not like I convert sales all the time or like I know how to do that. I think I have gotten what I've gotten by giving actually really solid, good advice. I think the people that do really well on social media as coaches or service-based providers are people that are just actually really savvy at the business of it. But that doesn't necessarily mean the product is that good. Necessarily.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. So, okay, what do you think? What's some of the content you made after that 5-month? We'll call it a dry spell.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sure.
Like what kind of changed? Like give me one example of like, were you sharing your personal life? Was it, you said here's something that happened, here's how I dealt with it.
Yes. I have to do more work to think of what are my clients actually dealing with? Like what are their actual pain points? Like what are situations that they actually find themselves in? And how can I articulate it in a way that grabs their attention and solve that problem for them in the 7 seconds of this reel? So it's actually just incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult to do. And it takes like a lot more time than just throwing up like, here's 3 ways you can improve your public speaking, right? So, but I've noticed a few different changes I can make filming things in the settings that I'm doing them. One of my best reels I've had for a long time was, honestly, I filmed it in 10 seconds. I was about to do a talk for co-op and the lighting was so good coming off the screen. So before the audience got there, I did one of those soundbite clips. And then I just wrote, this is why your mind goes blank when you have to talk in front of your colleagues. And the sound clip was like, oh my God, I get it. Or something. So it was like, you realize why. It was like 1 million people watched that. And it, like I had tips on the bottom and it really stuck to people. So I think it's just really getting in with the language that they're speaking. I don't know if that's a great answer, Matt, but
I think the truth is a great answer. So yeah, I think it's a great answer. I think there's a lot of bad advice and a lot of like, there's so much information and now we have AI to make bad advice more available.
Yeah.
Or like just generic tips. But I find your experience does align with mine. I wouldn't mind hearing about what's your perception on just like the skill of making those pieces of content. Like you've said like some hit, some don't. Part of it's a volume game. Like I have my own perception, but I kind of want to, I'll share it with you after if you want to hear, but I'd like to hear kind of like your part or your view of like that skill of making content. Cause you are, in a way, you're communicating and public speaking has a lot of a connection to that. So yeah, what's your...
Yeah. Okay. I think, and this actually relates to, I know we wanted to talk about confidence today, and this relates. So I think that the perception of what's happening there and the reality of actually doing it are 2 different things. Like one of the big thing I think is that there's a lot of people who sell their services in order to teach you about social media marketing, and they just promise you easy riches, like the whole "you'll retire your husband" type thing.
They call it
right?
Selling the fantasy.
Yeah, but then the problem is when you get into the action of doing it, and it doesn't match that fantasy, like you have self-doubt and it's hard and you can't think of something, or you put a lot of work into something and then it flops, and it can be so easy to turn on yourself, to say like, this is your failing. You're not good at this, because it's easy for other people. They're retiring their husbands. They're making their millions working 3 hours a day. Like I work full work days, and I often work on weekends too. So I think that was the skill of it, is recognizing that is a fantasy, and that because it's hard for you, or because sometimes it's working and sometimes it doesn't mean that you're actually not good at it. You're just like, you're in the mud grinding through the action of it. And that's what the skill is. It's just, there's like a Buddhist term for, it's called like the middle path. And it's like not going too high, not going too low, but staying on the middle path. So when it gets really hot and heated and it's going really good, I don't go, oh yes, this is who I am or whatever. But
Yeah,
then when
people
it's
tend to take credit improperly when they do something well.
yes. And I think those things, those waves used to affect me more. But then also when it's bad, I can just go, okay, I just need more information, or this is just a down period for me. Or I'm just, personally, I haven't been feeling well. So it makes sense that my Instagram isn't thriving. Like when I thrive, it does usually translate over into my Instagram as well. So I don't know if that actually helps at all. It's just more like that's more of a mindset thing, which is it's okay if it's difficult. It is a difficult thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I feel like one of the two things. I'll start with this: people who are successful work the hardest. That's what I've found in almost any workshop I've ever been to or learned from any professional. I've been to many like photo workshops, some from like world class photographers. Like one guy who shoots for like NFL, Volvo, things like that. He just works all the time. Like he just like, it's not like he's better. He hustles even more than I do. And then, but that comparison game never helps. And I think that was kind of what you're alluding to, was like a bit of judging yourself too hard by comparing to like the success of others. And then the other side of that is like, Instagram is easy to put on the show without showing the realities of it. And I think especially my kids love. My daughter's 16 now, grade 11, and my son's grade 8. And they were laughing about Ariana Grande. Like there was a meme going around like kids in Africa are now saving food for Ariana Grande because something like that. But they thought it was funny because it's just like, it's not, they don't care about the show anymore. Like the younger generations, like they kind of want to know, the weeds, the real life. Like they poke fun of like constructs and things like that. So I can't remember what the second part of that was, but anyway.
Well, I liked your comment there where you're talking about the hard work of that photographer, because I think that's something that's common both in social media marketing and in public speaking, is that we will erase the effort. So we look at talent, or we look at someone doing a good job, and we think they just have something that we don't, as opposed to they are willing to put in the work that it takes to be that good. And I think it's just important to remember, because effort is available to everyone.
Okay, tell me what you think of this belief. This is like a philosophy thing. Where your highest values are, you will endure equal pain and pleasure. And so the people who work hard are likely just working in the place where they are thriving. And so to compare yourself, there's that I think it's like, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll always be a failure, right? So I don't know. What do you think of that?
Oh, I agree, because I think that in order to work really hard, you have to be extremely curious. And I'm so curious about public speaking. I'm so curious about the mindset of it and the beliefs that support it. And I'm curious about how I can have better conversations with my clients to get them faster. Or some people are really sticky. It takes me a long time to solve their problems for them. How can I do that better? So I'm constantly consuming and reading materials related to that. I'm not doing the same with Instagram. I'm not, laying in bed at night thinking, how can I make this like really creative and fun reel? I'm not. This is part of my job, and it's something that I just do and I show up for. And I really do try to do a good job of it. I want to serve people and I want to serve them well, but I do that for public speaking. And so that's where I know like that's my zone of genius. That's where I should be. So I would wholly agree with you. I think it's so much easier when it is the thing that just suits your brain so well. It's so much easier to put in all the effort that's required.
Well, it's because you wouldn't even view it as like a problem. Like you would just, it's just you like you said, you can't help but want to solve those customers' problems.
Yeah.
Like you just, that's just who you are. And then the result of that is you have the business you have. I mean, I wouldn't underestimate the effort you do put into like your marketing. It's like, that's also a place where that still means something to you compared to a lot of people. Your consistency is incredible. Like I talk about writing and posting on LinkedIn, and like, I don't even do it to the level that I think I should, you know, like I can't even post once a week. I'm getting better,
Yeah.
but
I think I've just made a habit of it. And also, I mean, it directly affects my bottom line. If I stop, then there's a delayed reaction. So 2 months down the line, I'll stop getting inquiries for work. So I'm giving future Heather that gift.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then that's just good marketing practice, in my opinion. We find a similar thing. I find ours is like a year delay. So when we're really good at marketing, you start noticing it about a year down the road. And then when we stop, you get to still ride the benefits of that for a while, but then and then in 12 months, and it's like, oh, we got to restart this marketing engine. One of our biggest problems is like when we're busy, we tend to
Well,
lax.
that's the thing is like you have lots of work. So then you stop and then you go into this period of, oh, I'm not getting those inquiries. I'm not having these conversations, but I should have solved this problem 2 months ago or 3 months ago when I was really, really busy. So it's hard. I'm actually really glad we're mostly talking about business or marketing stuff in this podcast because this is actually something that I'm not very good at. I think I'm excellent at understanding public speaking.
You're better than you think. You're better than you think.
But maybe it's because it feels so bad. Because there's always challenges or always ways that I see myself failing. But I've started thinking about my ability as a business person in the same way that I think about the way that I feel about how I look. So I'll just explain that a little bit better, which is that the 90s and early 2000s beauty industry was particularly vicious to women. I mean, I don't think it's anything perfect now. We're good. Well, more about weight. Like there was a ton of stuff, but just even the beauty industry today is all about you're not good enough. Like you're not good enough. So now you need these things. And I've realized that business marketing actually does the same to me. Like every single day, I get 3 to 5 people reaching out to me on LinkedIn through email or my Instagram DMs telling me what I'm doing wrong with my marketing. And so because they want to sell me their services. So it's a constant barrage of you would have these things. You would be making $1 million a year if you just did these next steps. But it's all in an effort to make me buy their product. So I've just
the hooks on a lot of these ads are like three things that are holding you back from making 6 figures or 7 figures.
Yes, and the third one will surprise you.
Yeah, which like they work, but yeah, like that. There's a fatigue. I totally understand. Like there's a fatigue, especially the way the algorithm works. If you start looking at marketing or business or social media, it's like, oh my gosh, 5 reasons you're not getting 1 million views. And now it's like, oh, I didn't even realize I needed 1 million views. And I'm a pretty smart guy. Like the logic in me is like, I have like 3,000 customers lifetime. I need 3,000. I don't even need that. I service like 300 people a year. Like,
yeah, and you need them to be local. So it doesn't really serve you to actually have like this huge following. So to cap that off, I'll just say what I have done is I have accepted that I will always not feel like I'm good enough. In the same way that I feel that way about my appearance. Like I'll always just have that sense, but it doesn't mean that I can't have moments of satisfaction or moments that feel good. And that feeling of not being good enough will just come with me. Like it'll just be there and some things will tap into it sometimes and they'll trigger it for me and then I just keep going. But this is how I sit. This is how I sit with businesses. I'm always going to just have a little bit of that with me.
I like that. Well, and yeah, you know what? I feel very similar. Looks, physically, I think I'm 39, I turn 40 in the next year. It's like, there's part of it too where like, as I'm older, it's like, okay, who cares? Like everybody's getting veneers. I started shaving my head. I'm not even judging these things. Yeah. There's a version of Matt who goes and gets a hair transplant in Turkey and gets veneers or whatever. Yeah. And then there's also this like version of me where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to give myself permission to just be the way I am. Mm-hmm. And that's fine too. And then I was talking to a very close friend. He's like, you'd be surprised just you being comfortable in your skin, how he connected it to my business because I photographed portraits of people. And he's like, you being comfortable in your skin actually would be more of a leveraged thing than you realize.
It's just so weird because if you look different, you wouldn't be you. You wouldn't be who you are. I think people get really hung up on needing to look like some certain type of person in order to be successful at public speaking. And that, to me, it's important that we have a variety of people out there because people need to hear things from different people. That's not an amazing sentence. I'm sorry.
Soundbite.
But
People need to hear
things from
quote
different
it.
people.
Quote it.
What I'm trying to get at here is that who you are is also part of your message. And so if everybody looked the same or like we only saw that every people that all looked the same, like then we wouldn't have any different messaging, or the messaging wouldn't reach the different people that need to hear these types of things. But I don't know. You're Matt. You're you.
What if I didn't have my gap in my teeth? Would that be weird?
I wonder if you would look slightly less joyful when you smiled. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm like, go to Turkey if you want. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like honestly, who cares? Like nobody's going to judge you for doing things or not doing things.
Both work. And so this friend who gave me that advice, he's like, make sure you just see both sides before you make choices. That was his advice was like, you should love yourself as you are, and then decide what you should do. And that viewpoint kind of applies to many different things, like the way your business is, the way your team is. Like, be okay. Like, just see both sides of it all, because his view is, which is part of like the philosophy that I've grasped onto the most. His view is that nothing has more benefit than drawback. And so we start to see fantasies, whether it's like, oh, I wish I had more followers, or I wish I had more hair, or, or I was 30 pounds lighter, or whatever those things are. There's drawbacks to the change. Let's say, actually, we talked about weight, actually. I like that we're getting into this. He's like, put yourself in that situation. What would your life have to be like to do that? I'm like, well, okay, I'd have to eat differently. Okay. So now you go out with your wife less, you go on dates less. Would you be insufferable? Basically, he was kind of pointing at, there's like a part of it that you become insufferable. Like I would be. I'm not saying that for everybody, but it's like, okay, now Matt has to have a modified menu. Now Matt can enjoy the turkey dinner and stuffing and.
Yeah. I think with that, it is a question. James Clear always says that you have to fall in love with the lifestyle. Like if you want a goal, you have to like the lifestyle that leads to that goal. Like I'm very into fitness. I run a lot, but that serves me in so many ways. Like none of it actually has to do with it has to do with my body, but it doesn't have to do with my body image. So it more has to do with like creating feelings of, I like being disciplined. That transfers over to my work. I like feeling powerful. Like sometimes I like will do something so hard in running, and then I'll be like, is this what being full of testosterone feels like? Because I feel like I could like fight a tiger right now, right? So it does so many other things. So I love the lifestyle of it. So then it serves me. And sometimes I do just think about, I'm so lucky that I like this lifestyle. I felt that's luck.
Are you very like self-aware and conscious of making sure you do things that make you feel good? Like, like the running, like when I exercise, I don't do it for anything other than I like how I feel when I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the discipline side. I like how I feel when I do it consistently, but I like how I feel mentally too. I like how it, years ago, I was in kind of a lower spot in my life, and I had a really good, I don't know if you'd call him a psychiatrist, but a counselor. Yeah, I think he was a psychiatrist though. But he suggested medication or working out. And he's like, working out's better for you, or just as good, if not better, at helping you feel better. Because I was in a bit of despair, you could call it. And I was like, let's try the exercise. And ever since then, and he said some key words to me. This is a totally philosophical podcast now. I like this. I hope you're okay with it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
One of the things he said to me was like, don't settle. Like, just view your life in a way where you don't have to settle. Like nothing's in stone. If it's not, like the essence of it, the way I interpreted it was like, if it doesn't serve you, you have permission to do something about it. You're not trapped. And just viewing myself from being trapped or to free, that viewpoint, I didn't have to change too much in my life, but that was really good. And then just ever since then, and then like I've used exercise as a way to feel good. Lane from Freedom Fitness, like I did barbell training with him for a long time, lots of kettlebell. Like I have a weight rack in my house, a treadmill, like all those things. I just went to the Commons for a Pilates, my first Pilates class.
Cool.
But yeah, like I spend a lot of time being careful about what makes me feel good. A lot of my motives are, I would say I struggle probably the most with being content, especially as a business owner. Like you're always planning, or I'm always planning for more, the next thing, the next quarter, where are we trying to go? What are we trying to build? And I find just like that's exhausting too. The same way we're talking about an exhaustion from marketing making me feel bad. Like setting goals and getting close still feels like a failure in ways. And then being okay with that too. Like it's still worth setting the goal. But yeah, I don't know. Do you spend a lot of time with like your own just brain making
Too
sure
much.
Heather feels good about Heather. Heather feels good about life. Heather feels good about what she does.
I think this has been the pursuit of my adulthood. Like I was a really big mess when I was in my early 20s, and I have spent my adulthood examining and then layer by layer changing patterns that I do or things that I do that aren't working. And a big part of it was like getting into fitness and fixing my relationship with food. I was a smoker. I quit smoking. I'm trying to do this in order, but I've gotten out of order. Like relationships, like how to be in a good, happy, healthy relationship was really difficult for me. And that was a problem I had to solve. Now I don't drink. I'm 2 years sober. Like it's been like, that's the process. But I'm a firm believer in.
I quit drinking like right actually after this happened, like 7 years ago now.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was really good at it though.
At drinking.
I don't know if you were.
Or are you from Saskatchewan?
Yeah. I also smoked during COVID. I casually smoked my whole life.
Yeah.
Like if I'd go on holidays, like if I went to Mexico, I would buy a pack of whatever Camel brand cigarette. And then COVID happened and I started smoking every day, a pack of cigars.
It's like whatever happened to people in COVID, we don't need to talk about. Like the other thing was like COVID relationships didn't exist. You don't have to acknowledge that. Okay, but here's sort of like a bit of a formula that I use, which is, and I got it because I had these really, really bad headaches. I got them during COVID. I had these really bad nerve pain headaches. So they put me on this nerve blocker. But then I realized, my doctor didn't tell me this, I found this out, is that this nerve blocker, if you're on it long term, it causes dementia or can cause dementia. So I was like, I gotta get off this thing. But every time I try to get off.
What drug was it?
Man, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name.
Fine.
It's just a nerve blocker.
But like, I think I went on a nerve block. I'm only asking because I had sciatic pain, and they put me on this. I think it was called pregabalin or Lyrica.
That's not the one.
Okay, and that was for like amputees and diabetics who have nerve pain. But yeah, it was one of the things was actually.
I mean, it was great. Like I needed it. These headaches, I couldn't function. But the problem is every time I tried to go off, the headaches would come back. So then I was like, oh, it's impossible. Like, I'm just going to have to be on this. But then I asked myself, am I truly doing everything that I can to get rid of the headaches? And the answer was no, I'm not truly doing everything. So I actually did an Instagram post. I said, I got these chronic headaches. What have you done for you that works? And I made a list and I just started doing every single one. Get a better pillow, get a night guard, start meditating, get massages. Like it was just, I started doing it. And you know what? I got rid of these headaches. I was able to wean off that nerve blocker, which was absolutely amazing. And so now everything that I can't get or like seems impossible, I just ask, am I doing everything that I can? Like everything within my power? And the answer is always no. Like it's always no. I'm always not willing. There's always a few things that I'm ignoring or not willing to do in order to get that thing that I want. Again, I also just have patience with myself. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not ready.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
I like that.
but I do think that
that's a form of self-love. To have patience.
To have patience. Well, yeah, and grace. And like, that's a lot about what I teach with public speaking too, is just your relationship with yourself and your ability to take care of yourself during really difficult times or challenges that will change everything for you for public speaking.
That was a great segue. Let's talk about public speaking.
We're like 30 minutes in.
My clock over there's 4. Well, I guess we didn't start right away once it was recording, but yeah.
Sure, let's talk about public speaking.
So, am I doing everything? And we were talking about, even the social media side of just like building that skill. So people come to you, they view what's the biggest problem they come to you with? Like
Oh,
is it they don't know what to say? They go blank. They're nervous to write a speech, or like what's the goals often people
yeah.
have?
Well, there's a ton, but I would say one of the biggest issues is the shame that people feel around the issue. So they don't think they should have it. They're a professional. They're good at their job. So why is this hard for them? Doesn't seem to be hard for anybody else, even though it's the number one fear in the world. So people fear public speaking more than they fear death. Yet,
That's a scientific fact.
yeah,
That's
yes,
interesting.
but people don't raise their hands and say, I'm afraid of public speaking, just so everyone knows. Like people don't share it or talk about it. So it becomes this really closeted source of shame for people in the workplace. They often experience physiological symptoms, so sweating, shaking, nerves, face turning red, and that's embarrassing for them because they think that people can see it, and they believe that it takes away from their credibility, so that people don't see them as good as their jobs if they're not good speakers. And then a big one is just actually not saying yes. When I was looking at my career trajectory as a broadcaster, because I don't have a broadcasting certificate or diploma. I don't have a journalism degree. And here I am, and I just get a whole bunch of broadcasting work. Like I just said yes and started figuring it out. And the trajectory has been amazing, like starting on a community radio program all the way to national television, right? That's saying yes. That's the ability to say yes. And a lot of people don't have that ability right now in their lives because whatever next opportunity that they're looking at includes public speaking.
And that holds them back and closes doors if they don't do it.
Yeah. And then there's more shame that comes with that. Like they know that they should do it and they want to do it and they can't bring themselves to do it, which then starts messing your relationship with yourself, which never feels good.
So tell me about this skill called public speaking.
Yeah.
Where do you start with people? Is like the step one, give yourself permission to suck or just do it? Or, and I'm saying suck as in like, just be okay. Like that it might be bumpy or like, it might not be like, you're not going to give who was the prime minister of Britain in World War II? What's the guy's name? Winston Churchill. It won't maybe be a Winston Churchill speech, but like it doesn't have to be.
Nobody wants to hear a Winston Churchill speech anymore anyways.
Yeah.
Just so people know. Like that's one of the big things. No offense to the great speakers of our time. But the idea of what a good public speaker is really outdated because we do picture a white man with like ramrod posture and a very strong, deep voice, delivering confidently a message that has been scripted. And that doesn't actually appeal to a lot of audiences anymore. What people actually want, or the speakers that get highly rated, are ones that create a sense of connection to their audience. The audience wants to feel like that speaker is talking to them. So when you're saying like you should just get over it or what you should do, I mean, in a sense, that is correct because what we want, or the place we want to be in when we're speaking, is we don't want it to actually be about us at all, the speaker. It's about the audience. So we want to let go of how we're coming across and focus on what we're trying to do to the people that are listening.
So in a podcast, like how would you frame that?
Well,
like in our main goal is like content for LinkedIn, and maybe this will even be a clip we throw on, but like how would you mentally prepare someone to do that? Because when we do a lot of video content, tons of people, like last week we're filming a project and then our contact had a tertiary or like a side conversation with the CEO of the company. He was like, next week we're going to film something with you, and he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. He's like, he refused to be on camera.
Give him my card. I can fix him. We always are in service. A public speaking is an act of service. And so what service are you trying to provide? And so even just as we've been having this conversation, everything that I'm saying, I'm thinking, is this useful to the people that are listening? And sometimes I felt self-conscious because I hadn't really thought through as much of my ideas about social media marketing as that we discussed. So a couple times I'm like, I'm not being as useful as I'd like to be. So I think that sets the guardrails for me when I'm speaking. I want to be useful.
Mm-hmm.
And you should always know what you're trying to do. You should always have a goal. And even just when I do broadcasting, I had a big overarching goal, which was I really loved Tom Power, the radio host, when he did CBC Radio 2 Morning. And what I loved about him is he made you feel as if you saw him on your street or you ran into him, he would become your friend. Like you could go up and you could approach him. I think Hazel May from the Toronto Blue Jays has that same similar energy. You feel like you could be her friend. And that's what I always tried to do then in all of my broadcasting was I want people to feel like I'm approachable and that even that we would get along if we had a chance to converse. And so actually when people do approach me, I was just at the library the other day and this woman was like, I saw you speak at this influence thing. I was a photographer and I was like, oh, hi. You know, we just started chatting, but it made me feel good that she felt like she could do that I was like a safe person, that she would get a good response from me. So that made me feel like I'm achieving my goal with public speaking.
So I would say, because we're workshopping this almost, my intention would be, I do like the idea of people giving their time is giving a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so that when I make something, it's worth someone's time. And this could be like podcasts are great on road trips. And like, it's funny, like I run into people, I've had other podcasts. They're like, oh, I've listened to your podcast. I'm like, oh, I never even thought someone I know would listen to it. Like just a friend. Like I thought it'd be more like abstract people I don't know or whatever. But yeah, so that's an intent I have. And then to kind of, you know, and then the purpose of this show is to talk about leadership, building something. You know, I do like branding, entrepreneurial. So it's like definitely into my interests, but then people who are also interested in those things have guests on here and try to pull out, or I shouldn't say pull out, but like have conversations that if I think I get to learn something from you, which I already have, someone else would be able to learn that too.
What you do so nicely is you share about yourself. So you go, this is my experience and this is what I learned from that. And I think that's an incredibly useful thing to do for your audience. It also sets the tone for your guests. So you're going to, big thing about like intimacy or connection is reciprocal vulnerability. You're going to share about your hard time, then I'll share about my hard time. That sets the tone. So that's what we're doing here. And I think that anytime you can be honest and real and just talk about how you're growing or trying to be better, that's interesting to other people and can be useful to them. So I think that you're doing it by just talking about your own experience.
Would you say that's authentic? Like actually? Segue.
Oh, man. Yes, I would. And let's talk about authenticity because I do find it fascinating.
Yeah, like I like what you said. You're sharing vulnerability, or would you reciprocating?
Reciprocal vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which like with a part.
Which is like, can I talk about that idea a little bit more? Because this is great you'll notice it out in the world. Is that so sometimes someone's sharing and we don't want to make the conversation about us, so we don't say anything. We're just like, oh yeah, you're having that experience. I'm sorry to hear that. Because we don't want to make it about us. But actually, if you can just like, you know, I had a similar experience where I felt that thing. What's your next step? But then turn it back on them. What that does is that creates connection. It's like when you share just a little bit yourself, but then go back to the other person. But you'll also notice when it's not reciprocal, that's when we get the ick or that feeling of oversharing. So when someone's just saying stuff to you, and you're not matching that level or the group is not matching that level of vulnerability, that's when it starts to feel like a little bit icky, right? So it's got to be reciprocal. It has to be on that same level in order to create connection.
How does that happen on a stage? Like,
yeah,
you know, you're not like you probably could ask the audience things, but I assume mostly there isn't a two-way. You know, actually, you know what? I've been to lots of conferences. Open mics are pretty common.
Yeah, I think there's obviously places where you and your audience can do it together. And I think as the speaker, because you're in the power position, you would set the tone. I think about vulnerability when you're speaking, the key for me is not asking the audience to take care of you. So anything that you share, you should be able to manage the feelings of it on your own. And the audience needs to feel that from you. Your audience never wants to feel responsible for your feelings when you're speaking. So in that way, it can be one-sided because it's almost like you're just displaying your relationship with yourself. I saw a really A great speaker the other day, Kendra Weenie, she was doing a speech for the YWCA, and right at the beginning she said, I'm going to tell you about some things that happened to me that were very difficult. I want you to know that I am okay and you do not need to feel sorry for me. And that just released the audience of that responsibility. And I think it allowed people to listen more deeply.
I like that. Back into the authenticity part. How do you continue to build that? Like you shared, I think that example is amazing. Like that authenticity or the vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that for me, I think I've had my friends tell me that's like one of the things. I'm not afraid to ask questions to people. And for some reason they say the way I ask questions, like I'll like jokingly, I'll give you
It's a gap in your tooth, I think.
Yeah. Like I'll be like, hey, I know it's none of my business, but like
Right.
what happened between you and your spouse? Like I noticed your profile picture's just you and the kids now, or whatever it is. Or like, it's none of my business, but like, how much do you guys make? Like, you know, and then for some reason, my friend is Dustin Ratzlaff. He's like, I love how you can ask those questions. He's like, I can't ask those questions. I don't know why,
but this is why I'm saying, like, you can't separate you from who you are. Like, this is why, like, you, Matt, as the package is so important, because like that's your vibe, that's your energy. Okay, so authenticity. So the biggest thing for me that I work with people on with authenticity with public speaking came from my work in theater, which is I spent a long time in theater as an actress doing the wrong thing, which was trying to mimic or look like a person having the experience that my character was having. A lot of controlling my outward behavior, trying to control my expression. And then one day we were doing this acting exercise with this guy. It was like famous British drama teacher from Ontario. Yeah, he works at Stratford now. And I was having a really bad day, and I felt like I couldn't put the effort in that I needed. And I went in and I was doing this big scene with Richard III. I'm Lady Anne, and she's like spits on him, right? Like it's this big emotional scene. And I just went in and I'm like, I'm just going to talk to Richard. I'm just going to go in there and I'm just going to talk to him. And I let all the other thoughts go. And anytime any other thought came in about how bad I was acting or how shitty I was feeling, I would just go like, that's not important right now. I'm going to talk to Richard. And, you know, we do the scene, I spit on him, whatever, I get out of there. And we're doing notes afterwards. And so notes is where they tell you what you've done wrong. That's not true. They give you advice on how to improve your performance. And I was so afraid of this guy because like he could really tear people apart when they hadn't tried. And he's going around and he's like, so-and-so, you got to do this better. And so-and-so, you got to do this. And then he gets to me and he goes, Lady Anne? Yes. Yes. And then he just moved on. And I was like, what happened? So I realized that was the day that I learned to act. And the deal is that I could do all the prep work. I figure out like what my character's trying to do. I think about her. I learn about her. And then I go there and I just try to achieve that objective. And I let go of how I'm coming across. I turn off that part of the brain that's like monitoring what's happening. And I just try to do it. And I let people observe. And that's public speaking, is that when you are a good, authentic public speaker, you get in front of people and you try to complete a task. You try to achieve an objective. I want the audience to do, feel, or understand this. And you let go of the impression, because that is ultimate confidence in public speaking, is when you can have all those eyes on you and you are unaffected by their gaze. And that is like prime authenticity, is when people can just look at you. Like they could just look at you trying to do something. Audience in theater love that, but audiences just everywhere love it.
Yeah, that's cool. My wheels are turning about how I come across, and like if I'm contriving myself, like I'm retrospectively looking at the past 45 minutes. I'm looking back at every podcast I've recorded. We had a public talk a few weeks ago. And it was like, how did that come across? And
listen, like the other thing is that it's not, you don't just like are authentic or not authentic. You're not confident or not confident. You're a range of those things at all different times. And so some moments will be more authentic for you than others. And some moments you'll feel more confident than others. And that's just being a human being.
So how do you guide people to get out of their head? Like I'm in my head as I'm saying that. I'm in my head. It's causing me to, not that I don't really care if there's a gap in the show, like a little bit of dead space, but like, you know, if you're on stage, I do this. I talk really fast when I get in front of people, and then I get out of breath and blah, blah, blah. So, and I would say I'm in my head. I'm thinking too much. I'm worried. I'm too many things. So anyway, how do you guide that?
So there's two things that have to happen, and one happens in the moment and one happens well before the moment. So in the moment, that's about controlling and allowing things into your working memory that are either going to help you or not. So your working memory is your focus. So it's like the part of the brain. Like right now, it's thinking about the words that I'm saying and trying to communicate this idea. If it's thinking about how I look, that's interrupting this thought process that I'm trying to explain to you. So we only want in our mind what we only want to be thinking about what we're talking about and nothing else. So there's self-talk that is involved. And then also just training your ability to focus. That's in the moment. But what's more interesting and can often solve the problem faster for people is figuring out what belief is preventing them from being in the moment when they're there. So if you're talking fast in front of people, why do you feel like people don't want you to take up space? Like, why do you feel like you have to get out of there faster? What is it? Like, that's one thing.
You want me to answer that?
Well, just think about that for a
Okay,
second, because I'll give you another belief that I hear, which is that you're reviewing your podcast you've already recorded. You're feeling self-conscious.
Side note, no one has to care for me. I'm okay. I don't actually care.
But what I'm saying there is that, so is there a belief there where it's like you have to have it right off the start? Like you can't grow into this role. You're not allowed to figure out who you want to be, because there's anytime I start something, I'm fully aware that I'm not going to be as good at it as I can become. I just had to eat so much embarrassment the other day because my boyfriend and I went cross-country skiing for the first time together. I haven't been in 15 years. I was getting passed by children and elderly people, right? And I was so bad at it. And I just kept saying, I have to go through this in order to enjoy this experience. Like I have to be bad to be good. And I'm not saying you're bad, but what I'm saying is you can't just come in fully formed knowing how you want to be as a podcast host. That's got to develop for you.
Well,
So
I'm literally using this to learn the skill. And I'm exposing myself. And part of it's like, if we just post it and we commit to it, then I have to.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm learning. I tend to learn that way too, where I just like, I'm like, I play games this way, board games too. Like, it's like, if I lose, I just want to play right now. Like, I just want to keep churning
you want to
it.
apply that learning, which is great. And so just as you're reflecting then on your past experiences, just reflecting in a useful way. So where were some moments that I got caught out? Why did that happen? And how do I want to deal with it better next time?
So here's a question. It's like, I want to listen to you fully. And I would assume people on stage and panels experience this, or you on the news. You're interviewing someone, you're trying to listen, but then you're also trying to think of what to say as a follow-up, I'm trying to look down at my notes, and then I find a trait I have is like, that's crazy. Like, like the meme where the guy's throwing it down the bowling ball down the bowling alley after someone says something.
Yeah.
I don't always know what to say after.
Yeah.
I don't know. And but it's like, I'm okay with it. But that would be a gap I would love to solve.
Yes. So I would say a couple things that would be helpful to you. One of the things that I used to do with CBC, because I would do when I would do a whole morning show, I would do up to 8 interviews about 8 different topics that I would have to learn that morning when I came in at 5 a.m. and read the scripts, right? So when I was listening to the interviews, I would often just, if I had a thought come into my head, I would just write one word to remind me of that thought on the page. And then I would just go back to listening fully. And when they wrap up, I would just glance and the thought would be right there. So like that was a really helpful tactic to me.
You can write down the word thoughts.
Thought. There you go. And then the other thing would be, it is okay to have silence. It is okay to have pauses. Like I actually felt when I said that thing about, when I was told the whole story about authenticity and you just sat there for a second afterwards, I felt like you had been really listening to me.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Like it had really just fully landed and you weren't sure what to think about it yet.
It's funny how
which
we're
is
like,
absolutely fine.
It's funny how we're like literally analyzing our conversation.
We're going,
and that's the conversation.
We're like an enigma wrapped in a riddle.
We're
just going around and around on this.
I hope this would happen today. So this is making me smile.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I think you're doing a really good job.
Thanks.
Yeah. And you can have a lot of that grace with yourself that we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And like, one of my beliefs, and this is like a thing I tell clients, is like, doing the thing, you get better at it. No one knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, people have more experience and skill, but like people are still trying to figure it out. Like even the example with social media, like, you know, you're figuring it out. You're doing a great job, but you're not letting it stop you that you don't know all the answers.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my favorite things about learning any skill. My daughter's in art class right now. She's 9 years old, and she's really hard on herself because she's not good. And she's like, I like to draw, but she doesn't like to do the homework because it's hard because she's not good at it, because she's judging herself. And it's like, that's why we do things. Like that's the part of the game, is like you learn a little skill, and yeah, you're bad at things that, and I use that word loosely, bad. Like I see the stuff she's drawing, and I'm like, girl, you have no idea how far you've come. It's
Right.
been 3 months now.
You know, and isn't it so great that as parents, we are now aware that we have to instill a growth mindset in our children? Like sometimes I feel like as an adult, all I'm trying to do is right the wrong of having a fixed mindset for my whole childhood. I remember taking physics in high school, and after 3 classes, I was like, I'm dropping out. This doesn't make sense to me. Because math had always come easy, and then all of a sudden it didn't. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Because physics is not for me. And now thinking back, I think I really would have enjoyed it or enjoyed learning it. And so now I just try to have a growth mindset about it and everything.
I'm just looking over at our questions. I'm enjoying the dead space. We should just get ASMR. How do you click?
I have to say, okay, just so you brought this up, my son was walking on snow the other day, and he goes, "Oh, hey, mom, ASMR." And I was like, "Oh my god, brain rot."
I actually don't even know what that stands for, but
I don't know either, but I know what it means, and
Yeah.
it means like sounds that people enjoy. Yeah, this like
I don't have the fake.
Oh,
acrylic
I do.
nails.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, now the fact that my son is outdoors in nature doing an activity, and he says ASMR.
Yeah. I love it.
Yes.
Do you enjoy parenting?
Oh, yeah. No, I always wanted to be a parent.
How does that fit in with your professional career?
I think
Okay.
maybe the original questions you were going to ask me was about how I work.
Yeah.
We never got there, but it relates to my parenting of my son, which is I wanted to create a life where I could be there for him more and be supportive of him. And just the way I was working before, it wasn't sustainable. And so oh my God, I'm distracted because you just wrote a note.
I'm a learner. I do the thing. I wrote the word motive.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll come back to that.
So, yeah, which has just been fantastic. Like I just enjoy it. A lot of what I do with public speaking coaching is teaching people how to talk to themselves in a warm and realistic way so that it supports their performance. And I'm really good at that for public speaking, but I'm terrible at it for parenting. So I actually am really hard on myself as a parent. And I just had a counseling session just the other day about parenting. And the guy was just like, you have to have grace. You have to be like, I'm actually doing pretty good. So I love it. And I think that my kid is my greatest teacher. I coach his soccer team, which I probably like my boyfriend would try to add it up. I think I spend like 30 hours a week. 30 hours a week, 30 hours a month on this soccer team. But I love working with their little minds and helping them and giving them skills that are going to translate into other things. So I don't know. I love it.
I wrote the word motive because I haven't really acknowledged it until right now. The reason I love talking to people or my favorite conversations with people is when we talk about motives. Like what dreams do they have? Why do they have them? It's like almost arbitrary. Like, you know, if someone wants to be a parent, it's not that they want to be a parent or they want to, you know, develop their skill as a parent, or like, it's not that even you love, you know, being a soccer coach for your son. It's like, why do you like those things? Because I feel like people, you know, and it's all those layers before people see like success. It's like just look at motives, and it's like I find it most inspiring to me to learn about what makes people tick.
Yeah.
And when I can like uncover that, like, and I don't know, I feel like I've recorded a bunch of podcasts in the past couple months here, and I'm like, I almost forgot that was the motive for me even wanting to do it, was just like, it's very inspirational to me to be like, you know, there's a work ethic you have, but there's the motive behind it. that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, why do people hustle? Why do you wake up at 6 a.m.? Like you were teaching, I took many of your classes at Freedom Fitness, kettlebell and boot camps and, but anyway, I just wanted to share that. So yeah, let's talk about motives for you. Like what, we talked a little bit about how you got in it, but what kind of keeps you going? Like keeping you diverse? You were talking about parenting. This provides a flexible life for you. Or...
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll talk about my motive for starting my business, but I will say everything that I've always done, it has this overarching idea or way I want to live, which is I improve people's lives. So if I'm coaching fitness or making somebody smile because they're listening on the radio or watching a sports broadcast, or I'm helping them with public speaking, I'm trying to improve the lives of people around me. Like that would be my ultimate driver, or what I want to do in my life. And then that way that umbrella can be really big of all the things that I do. It's not always true. Sometimes I'm cranky. I would be like, there's probably some people I run into in a shopping store that are like, that woman did not improve my life, right? She was scowling. But yes, that's my overall driver. But the reason I started my business or like had the courage to take the leap is I met my friend Justin Dunk, who some people may know. He's with 3 Down Nation. And we were working on a broadcast together. I was still working at CBC at the time. And we went for a run in the morning. I had just met him. And we went for a run in the morning before we were going to do this broadcast. And just learning about his life and how he was in control of his time and he got to choose what he did every day. It was just, I wanted it so bad. Like I said to him, I want your life. That was in early September. I quit at CBC by the end of September and launched my business fully in pursuit of having freedom and control over what I did over day to day. Now I'm so fully in my business, I do not feel like I have control.
I started my business
I'm like,
to
oh
get
my
away
gosh,
from 40 hours a week. Now I work 80 hours a week
I know,
for
I'm
half
like,
the pay.
so busy. But I never have to ask my boss for time off, which is really good. And it does come into play. Like last week I was sick. And I just worked half days. I just still did my clients, but I didn't do any extra work around that. And I thought, like, this is so nice. That's not something you can do in a 9 to 5. Just say, like, I'll show up for the important bits, but I'm going to rest in between, right? Like, you can't do that. So that's that freedom. But yeah, him and I don't know, I think I saw him in Toronto the next summer, and he was like, you did it. You stole my life. You, like, went and got it for yourself. And so that really was the big kicker for me, was just this idea of freedom and control.
You didn't settle.
Well, yeah. I mean, gosh, like it's so funny to talk to you because it's like I feel like I'm just getting started. I don't feel like I've accomplished anything.
I feel the same. Okay. I don't actually feel like I'm any further along than I've done this 18 years now. I feel like I'm still like at the beginning. And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like I like that game.
Or like a new era. I do feel as if I got myself so far and now it's time for some really cool shit to happen.
Well, yeah, everything in your life helps you. We can label things good or bad. I don't tend to do that anymore. It's just everything, because everything has equal benefit and drawback.
Middle path.
But it's like everything builds, and like even what you think you like, as you do more of the thing, like you dream for something, then you get it. Like I just wanted to be a photographer for whatever.
Yeah.
Just someone to have me take pictures, and then all of a sudden I found that, we'll call that success, because I wanted to get there and I got it. And then I learned, okay, I don't like to take all pictures. Okay, so now I can get more clear on that. And now I'm learning, even as a creative, and you said something, I wrote the word secret, it's reminding me. This is working.
Yeah, it's a good strategy.
The secret to happiness and fulfillment. I don't even like the word happiness. I just use it because North American culture, fulfillment and happiness are sort of the same thing. Fulfillment's a more inclusive word because it's more meaningful, but the secret is to using your skills and gifts to fill others' bucket. So use a child's example.
Yeah.
Like, do you empty people's bucket? Do you fill it? The secret of happiness and success, which I'll label as fulfillment, is using your skills, talents to fulfill people's lives. And for me, that's evolved into, it's not just aesthetics anymore. Like photography and branding is like, I would say, self-expression. It's the same way motives of why you would do your hair the way you do it or the way you dress. And branding is very personal and it's self-expression, right?
Yeah.
But then now it's like I've moved into, I love helping people grow their business, because if their business succeeds, then their life benefits from it.
Yeah.
And that's really, now I just happen to use video and photography to do that. But now I'm getting into like coaching people. Like I don't even charge for it. I probably should. But we sit there and we talk like, why do you want this thing? Like, should you?
Yeah.
You know, people, oh, I need a video. Do you? You know, maybe you don't. You know, maybe it's deeper. So anyway, that's now my new motive. And I've only learned that because of all the things I've gone through.
And so just to wrap in like a really nice way to bring this all around is that
we're over time.
Yes. My internal clock's going. Is that then authenticity and confidence is that you then pursue that. So you pursue those goals, you pursue those interests, and you just let people witness you.
That's authenticity.
That's authenticity, I think.
Yeah. I love that. Let's wrap it up. One more little question.
Yeah.
This is it. What's one idea about confidence or communication you wish more people understood?
The big idea around confidence that I try to communicate is confidence is when your beliefs about yourself support your ability to complete a task as opposed to interfere with it.
I like that.
And that's confidence.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Heather, thank you for being here.
Oh, so fun. What a wild ride.
Would you be interested in coming again in a year?
We should do a check-in to see where we are at.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Pinky promise me?
Yeah, okay.
We're going to do it.
All
Okay.
right.
And now
Do
it's
you lock
official.
it with your...
I don't know how to do it.
No, you lock it with your thumb. So put your thumb on mine.
Then
There
what
you
do
go.
And then you shake? I don't know.
If you don't lock it, it doesn't mean anything.
Oh, okay. That's binding. Okay. I've never made a binding pinky promise in my life. Thank you for being here. If you'd like to connect with Heather, you can find her on Instagram. And her Instagram is @deliver.your.best.
Yeah, and please engage. Please comment.
Yeah.
Send me a DM.
Yeah.
I actually do really like to hear from people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This is great.